Hello my friends, today I'm gonna explain to you how the Liquify Persona works in Affinity Photo. My name is Olivio, I'm a professional designer from Vienna, Austria. Let's get started. The first thing you want to know is that you only can use the Liquify Persona on a pixel layer. So up here you can see on the right side, I have one that says in brackets image. And when I select that and go to my Liquify Persona up on the top left, it gives me a warning that says, please select a pixel layer or mask before entering Liquify. The way to fix this is right click on the layer, rasterize it, and now it says pixel in the brackets. I will, by the way, delete this layer because you can see this layer is a bit smaller than my canvas. Below that I have the same picture, but I stretched out the size of the picture or the side of the picture to fit the canvas. Okay, next we can go to our Liquify Persona. There we are. And we will go through the different tools and through the different settings. So on the right side, I want to start with the most important, and that is the mesh that you can see right now here in the picture. You can turn it off and on with this little hook here where it says show mesh. And turning it off, of course, gives you a very clear picture or view onto your picture. That's very helpful, but showing the mesh will tell you how strongly the mesh has changed and in what areas. So this can be very helpful too. In the divisions area, you can change with the lever from a very fine mesh to a very coarse mesh. And this will influence basically the math on how the pixels are calculated based on the mesh shape. So a very coarse mesh like this will have very, like, how can I say, very not very detailed changes in the mesh, while a very fine mesh gives you a lot more detail, but also probably needs a lot more calculation. So I will leave it at 10, the normal setting. Next one is the color, which is important or can be important. For example, if most of this picture would be red, you wanted to change the color to maybe blue or green, or if the picture would be very dark, you probably want to change the mesh to white or some bright color. And you can also adjust the opacity of the mesh so you can see the picture better while still having the mesh visible. And below that is a very interesting tool. It's called Reconstruct Mesh. Let's look at that. I will use over here my twirl tool, and let's make this a little bit stronger. So you can see here that the picture is changing. And when I go over to the lever of my Reconstruct Mesh tool, I can go to 0 and this will reconstruct the picture completely, or I can go to 200%, which will intensify what I already have done to the mesh. The thing to know here is that this will apply to everything you have done to the mesh, not only the last step. And for example, now when I go to 0% and hit apply, it jumps back to 100% because this is now the new normal state. Okay, let's hide the mesh. Below that, there are some very interesting options. You can actually save a mesh that you have created. This can be very useful. For example, if you have a company that creates prints for t-shirts, you can create a mesh that is fitting for a certain t-shirt picture and then load different designs and load the mesh and have the mesh influence it so it's fitting the wrinkles and the shape of this t-shirt. So this can be a very useful tool. And below that you can use the two buttons, the last mesh you have used, and you can reset the mesh to 0. So when I do this and click on reset, this will just reconstruct it to the original state of the picture. Below that are the brush settings. They are pretty usual. So I can change the size. I can change the hardness. So right here we have 40%. You can go to 100%, which is a really sharp edge for our brush. And below that is the opacity of the brush. You can go to 100% or you can go to 0%, which is nothing. And this also will influence how much influence you have per stroke onto the mesh of the picture. Right now it's red because this is the masking brush, by the way. And we have also speed, which will influence the speed with which the tool is applying changes to the mesh. This is has more influence on things like the twirl tool, for example, or the turbulence tool, stuff like that. Below that it says ramp. That's a bit strange. Ramp is the, how can I say, the outside of the brush. When you have the hardness and it's soft, the ramp will give you different settings on how this edge is influencing the mesh. So Gaussian is more of like a soft way, and linear is like, yeah, they're kind of self-describing. Some of them are. I don't know what a sigmoid is, I have to confess, but linear is just a line, square is a square basically, so it drops from 100 to 0 in just one step, and Gaussian is like a soft way, so probably you most of the time want to use Gaussian for that. Below that we can have the mask settings, so you can have mask all, you can have clear mask, and of course you can have invert mask, so this is also very standard. Now let's go over to the other side with our tools. The first tool you probably know, the Liquify hand tool, which moves around the canvas so you can look at different areas. This is mostly useful when you're zoomed in. And the one below this is of course the zoom tool where you can zoom in. So now we come to the actual Liquify tools that help us change the mesh that we've seen before. The first one is called the push forward tool, which is a great name. And this is basically the same influence that you have when you use your finger in water, for example. It moves the water in whichever direction you move your finger. This here is doing the same thing. So when I move my mouse to the right, it's pushing the pixels to the right. When I move my mouse to the left, pushing the pixels to the left. Super easy to understand. The next one has a strange name. It's called the push left tool, which is totally not what it's doing. The push left tool is pushing the pixels when you go down to the right, when you go up to the left. When you go to the right, it's pushing it up, and when you go to the left, it's pushing it down. So not the push left tool, it's push in a certain direction depending on the movement of your mouse, but different from the other one that's pushing in the actual direction that you're moving your mouse. So there's a bit of difference here. The next one is again a great name. It's the twirl tool, which is actually creating a twirl. We have seen this before. I use a pretty big brush for this one so we can see the influence very nicely. And it's actually twirling the picture. And by the way, when you hold the Alt key, it's twirling in the different directions. So that's pretty cool. By the way, for all the tools, when you look down here on the lower part of your window, you can see some tool tips. And there says drag plus Alt to twirl counterclockwise, drag shift to twirl slowly, which is also a great option, by the way. Let's reset the mesh. The next one, or the next two, are actually the same tool. So you have the pinch tool, which is pulling the pixels toward you. And when you hold Alt, it's pushing them away from you. And the other tool is doing the exact same thing in the opposite order. So when you normally click, it's pushing them away from you. And when you hold Alt, it's pulling them towards you. So that's what they do. The next one is called the Turbulence tool, and the icon looks like it's again a twirl, but it's not. What the Turbulence is doing is it's actually influencing the picture like you would have the surface of moving water or waves. And you can see this very nicely in our mesh. You can see here that the shape of the mesh now is pretty wavy. So for this kind of effect, you would use that tool. Okay, let's look at the next one, which is a really cool tool. It's the Mesh Clone tool. And this can be very useful. I will make my brush a little bit smaller. So for the eye here, for example, I will use the pinch tool and I will make the eye bigger. You can see like this. And because the eyes are originally the same size, I can now use my clone tool, hold my Alt key, click here once to copy this area of the mesh, then go over to the other side and apply the same changes to the eye as on the other side, so I know that the eyes will be the same size. And what you can see here is already mesh or liquify changes are very cool for this kind of caricature style, making like fun pictures, comic look pictures. So this is a good exercise to get used to the pictures. You can make fun changes to photos for your friends or relatives. It's a great gift to send them for birthday or just for a joke in your office or something. Don't be mean, be fun. Just to don't lose your job over doing some strange changes. Okay. The next thing that's interesting is the Liquify Reconstruct tool, which is reconstructing the mesh in that area confined to that area. So it's different from our Reconstruct Mesh lever over here, which is reconstructing all of the picture. I can now go in here if I want and just reset our left eye. So that's very useful. Let's undo this. The next two ones, very crazy naming again. The Liquify Freeze tool and the Liquify Thaw tool. I had to look up what thaw means. Thaw means melting. So it's either freezing the mesh or melting the mesh. And to use plain English, this is a mask brush and the other one is the unmask brush. So I can, for example, mask out this area, and now when I influence this, I'm just influencing the ear, but not the other areas over here. You can see I can influence everything, and this is saved. And then when I use the other tool, I can unmask that area, and now also this area is influenceable by me, and the others that are still red are still saved. So yeah, let's undo this, what I did here in changes. I can go here to clear mask, or as you have seen before, I can go here to invert mask. So I can draw in the areas that I want to change and then invert the mask to influence just this area. So this can be also very useful. And for example, if you want to just change the chin, you can save the mouth up here and the areas around it, and then use the tool, pull out the chin a little bit, and then clear the mask again, and now you have a picture like this. So you can do some really fun things with that, and it's super easy. It's super fun to do these kind of changes to a face. Yeah, so this is basically the Liquify tool that you can use. By the way, another thing that you should know is that the changes are based on the mesh. And this will become important when you do changes to areas that already have been changed. For example, right now, look at the eyes. And now I'm going to use my push tool and make it rather big, like this. And now when I move the eyes over here, you will see that the eyes are doing something really strange. And this is because the pixels are moving into the already changed mesh. So this is why suddenly he is squinting with his eyes, and it's not just moving all of the mesh. So you have to take this into consideration when you do these kind of changes. And yeah, just load a nice picture of a face, play around with it, get used to these different kinds of uses, of changes, of the ways that tools feel, and very quickly you will become a Liquify Persona master. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial. If you like my tutorials, maybe subscribe. I do 2 tutorials per week. If you want to support me even more, maybe head over to Patreon, where you can get my files with all the layers. You can get feedback on your own creations and a lot of other great rewards. Thank you very much, and see you in the next episode. Bye.